911 emergency.
Hey guys, Operator Drewski here, and today we are going to be talking about Ready or Not. This trailer came out of nowhere and took the, I guess, military shooter audience by storm a few days ago, and definitely looks very, very appealing. It's very, very dark, it's very realistic of events that SWAT teams would actually be going in real life, and it looks extremely interesting. Lots of realistic gun models, lots of realistic player models, with the graphics being overly just insane, to be honest. From the trailer, I got very, very positive vibes of what this game could possibly be. So today I'm going to be reading a little bit of their website, talking about a few features of the game and such, and just kind of giving you guys an overall view of the game before we get any more news possibly in the future. So Ready or Not on their website is written as a tactical first-person shooter which places you in the boots of an elite SWAT team tasked with diffusing hostile situations in intense claustrophobic environments. It's set in a nondescript modern America where an income disparity between the classes has become unsustainable and the country has been plunged into havoc. Bring order to chaos with up to 8 players. Up to 8 players in cooperative play. Battle enemy squads in a close player versus player environment, or command AI in a striking single player mode. 8 players is something I wanted to note because sometimes you want to play with a group of 5 friends. Maybe 5 of your friends are online, and if you go and play Ghost Recon or like any games like that that have a 4-player limit, then that one person, you just have to choose one person that can't play. That's one of the most like disappointing things to me about any game is when it's like a PvE game, so it's not like it's you versus other players, yet there's still a player limit. Like Ghost Recon Wildlands is not a serious game whatsoever, yet they limit the player count to 4, which is very, very small. You know, you see a lot of people playing GTA 5, which is very similar, I would think, in gameplay kind of mechanics and style to Ghost Recon Wildlands, and GTA 5 can have a lot more people than 4 playing in a single match. So definitely a lot more interesting stuff going on if there's more players able to join a game. But let me continue. Let me not bark on that too much. Battle enemy squads in a close player versus player environment, or command AI in a striking single player mode. So it doesn't just say play with AI, it says command AI. So apparently you'll be able to give them orders, probably very basic orders, but still that's going to be pretty interesting to have an entire single player I guess appeal to this game. So if you're not online, if you're playing on a laptop or something, can't connect to the internet, you can still play the game. That's pretty cool. On Siege, you can't really do that. I kind of wish I had Siege as a, like, I wish I had a mission maker in Siege so that I could create custom scenarios where there are tons of little hostiles and stuff and I could go in and fight them. But in Siege, you can't really do that. It's all about multiplayer. But this game is shooting for, I think, a full, I don't know, experience, I would say, where you don't have to be connected to Wi-Fi all the time to play the game. You can play against AI and such. in the game, there's a lot of different features that it says on this list. It says incremental lean system. Now, this is pretty cool. You can duck under low cover to like avoid incoming fire. You can slowly lean around corners. You can tap the lean key to slowly incrementally like begin your lean around a corner, which is really cool. Now, sometimes that type of stuff gets in the way. But I think that if it's done right, it can be really, really good. But I would say, like, in an example like Arma, sometimes people just never use the incremental leans just because it's so many different keybinds and controls to actually hit them that it's not even really worth it sometimes. Like, when I see people clearing a building in multiplayer Arma, they never lean. They never lean. Like, especially if it's third person, they just look around the corner and they go. If it's first person in a more milsim unit scenario, then I do see people sometimes leaning, but it's usually when they're just sitting at a corner. It's not when they're actually going around when they're doing something quickly, because the keybinds just aren't easy to do, and so they don't feel as if it's necessary to just lean twice to go around a corner. Now, there's an incremental door opening system as well. So you can, opening sliding doors, opening normal doors, opening like revolving doors and stuff like that. There's actually a way that you can slowly open those doors now, which is really cool because I played this in that game that we showed earlier on my older, I think it was the Rainbow Six Siege video. Or no, it was the Battlefield video. I'm not really sure. But it was Intruder. That game was called Intruder. And you could slowly open doors in that game. And it was a really cool mechanic because then you could just crack open a door, look through it with your little periscope, and then you could move into the room. I thought that was a really cool mechanic. And definitely think that in a game like this, which is a more SWAT, very realistic type of tone to it, that slowly cracking doors open, maybe being able to peek those cracks in the doors, is going to be really useful for the player. There additionally is modular speed control, so that you can scroll on your mouse wheel and control your speed. I think I heard of another game doing this. I forgot exactly which game it was, but I remember some game, or this game as well, I guess now, where you can scroll to adjust your walking speed. That's kind of useful because in most games on PC, we don't have an Xbox controller. Xbox, which is funny, I never really thought of this when I moved to PC, but there is one thing you lose whenever you move to PC gaming, let's say playing the same game. So let's say I play Battlefield 4 on the Xbox One, which I did, and now I play Battlefield 4 on the PC. What you lose in that transition from console to PC is that you lose that controller. You lose that analog stick for your left hand, which is basically your movement. And with WASD, it's 0 to 100. You can't slowly move unless you like tap move maybe, and that's very, very difficult to do, especially in types of situations where you're trying to slowly peek a corner, you know. In Xbox, I would snipe, I would be sniping, but I would be using actually my left stick to move myself around onto targets, because sometimes it was too hard to just simply aim at somebody. So as a sniper, I would always be crouched because then I can move myself to actually line up with the target instead of actually looking towards the target. It's a little bit more difficult to explain, but I would say that incremental lean systems in a realistic scenario game like this is going to be definitely useful. Okay, this is the most interesting part to me. And this is the part that I'm like, this is way too good to be true. Like, this is awesome. And if this actually is implemented in an actual game, this is like the first game I think that will ever do this. There is a simulated and detailed third-person inventory. So this is what I'm reading right here. In a real-life situation, each item has its place in a loadout. We wanted to ensure this level of replication. So we included detailed animations and systems which show your teammates exactly what you're doing. Magazines, grenades, and items are retrieved and returned to their specific pouches, with the pouch flaps opening and closing in synchronous. I don't know how to say that. I don't know, synchronicity with the players reload or draw respectively. That is crazy. If your player has to open a mag pouch, take out the mag, also his right finger at the same time is like clicking the mag ejection button as he puts it in the next mag and then rocks the bolt back, or, you know, just that sounds really cool to me. And having grenades in actually specific pouches as well, that means that your loadouts are going to be fully customizable, I feel like, and that if you, let's say, choose a submachine gun, your magazine pouches are going to be switched to that submachine gun pouch, or if you choose a flash grenade versus a frag grenade, which might use the same pouch, then it might change the pouches up as well. It's going to be really, really interesting to see where that goes in this game. Next up is the Convex collision armor, allowing for precise protection. Armor collision in Ready or Not is calculated based on mesh coverage of the player, allowing for accurate levels of realistic ballistic protection. This is also cool as well. I liked this in Rust, whenever Rust had this, where certain armors only protected you from the spots that actually had armor. So let's say you're wearing a face mask. It only covers your face. It doesn't cover the back of your head. Well, if you're shot in the back of the head, you get as much damage as if you're wearing no helmet, because the face mask is in the front. It's only blocking the front of your face. Now, if you were wearing let's say a metal plate on your chest and back, then that would only protect your chest and back. If you got shot in the side, if you got shot in the armpit, the bullet would go right through and it would do as much damage as if you were naked. I like that mechanic. It's a little bit more hardcore, but as a military sim guy like me that really likes those realistic games where I can choose to shoot somebody between like the holes in their plate carrier of the arm, like let's say in Arma, actually you can do this. You can shoot somebody in the shoulder and have it go through the hole that their arm goes through in their vest. And it will go through their plate carrier, or it'll go around their plate carrier, through their plate carrier without actually hitting any of the plates. And therefore, you're able to get a kill with one bullet just because you went through their shoulder and into their heart area. That is a really cool mechanic, and I think that's a very tactical mechanic as well, so that players that are understanding how armor works and where armor is on a plate carrier and stuff, that is very useful for somebody to know if they're in a tactical situation like SWAT or any game like this. There's Projectile Dynamics. Bullets penetrate, ricochet, and deteriorate. Rounds have realistic range, drag, and tumble velocity. Calibers and ammunition types affect how far and well a projectile penetrates and exits anything. All rounds have the ability to ricochet based on surface materials and angle of impact, and deflection has recently been included as a feature. Less than lethal rounds will be unlikely to penetrate, but can sometimes still kill depending on the proximity and impact area. There's also responsive damage system and effects. If a player is shot in the legs, the movement is slowed down based on the level of damage. Arm damage will decrease accuracy and increase draw times. Head damage provided it is survived, can intermittently haze the player's vision. This is all really cool stuff. Visceral gore. Deaths need to be impactful to the end user, and we're committed to providing a death experience like no other. If characters in the game are hit, parallax bullet holes spawn on flesh, and blood will then seep out of surrounding fabrics. Oh my gosh. A gory bullet hole also becomes an emitter. Oh my gosh, man, this is getting insane. As individuals who knock their wounds onto objects create a small splatter based on bone velocity. In the future, we plan to implement an entire bodily destruction system. Oh my gosh, guys. It also says, highly detailed weapons, characters, and environments, massive selections of items. I'm going to just guess that that's very true. I'm not even going to go into the details of that. Fully supported competitive servers based on Amazon GameLift API, which is kind of interesting. The fact that they're really talking about all this stuff is making me happy because it's promising a lot. It's promising a lot. I'm willing to follow this game now just because it is promising a lot. It could be totally false, but I feel trustworthy of this game. I think that the trailer has already shown a lot of different objects and a lot of different things about the game that is definitely different from any other. So even if the game is in very, very early alpha when we first grab it and it doesn't have all these mechanics in it yet, I still think that this game is going for a tone that not a lot of games, even since like SWAT, the last SWAT game, have even gone for. Also, before every game, you're doing a tactical analysis. So you can shut off power grids, blockade entrances, create or choose new entry points, and spawn unique devices including ballistic shields, heavy rams, and telescopic ladders. So that's also cool as well. It's kind of like Rainbow Six Siege, how you have the prep phase and then you go into the action phase. This is kind of like the same thing where you have a technical analysis and you can go in, you can kind of get different items, you can probably purchase them or something for a limited funding or something like that. And you're able to get ladders and things like that, riot shields and such. So that is going to be really, really cool. I think that this game definitely has the most amount of potential of any game I've seen this year. And this trailer was definitely pretty entertaining to watch, definitely dark, definitely serious, and I kind of like that. A lot of games are scared to go too far. They're scared to have, these realistic events happen in a game, when that's probably the most entertaining thing to do, is like to practice, like, hey, what if this happened in a bank? Like, what if there was an actual robbery in a bank and you could simulate that in a video game? That would be really, really interesting and really, really fun to fight as a SWAT team against some bad guys. That'd be really fun. I think that hasn't happened in a long time, and I think that a realistic SWAT game is something that is, you know, definitely needed in the market right now. So, what do you guys think about this? Do you think it's too many promises, too good to be true, or do you think that you're gonna believe in it and you're gonna be supporting the game as it comes out in the future? Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.